Welcome, welcome. I'm very excited today because after 3 failed attempts, I finally have a manjula pothos to add to a moss pole. I think I struck the lottery with this variegation, which is exactly what I was hoping and looking for a long time now. The story goes, if you're interested, I got my first tiny manjula pothos almost 3 years ago, single vine. It had maybe like 3 or 4 leaves on it. As soon as I put it on a trellis, it started upsizing and growing beautifully for me. It had the prettiest color. I was just in love with it. When it was time to repot, I added one of those bendable poles that have kind of the cement thing that goes inside the pot. And it continued to grow. It was actually a pretty fast grower for me, but the variegation stopped. It was all green for over a foot probably worth of growth. So I decided to chop it back and see if I could get some of the variegation back. No luck. I chopped it back again and still no luck. Some of the cuttings have a little bit of variegation, but not nearly as much as the plant had earlier or before that repot. So at some point between all of that, I saw a seller. I had never purchased from them before, but I have friends that purchase from them frequently and they're reputable. And I ordered a full pot of manjula pothos. Actually, no, before that. I saw someone random selling one, so I ordered the pot of manjula pothos. It was a 6-inch pot, a very good price. I think I got it for like $30 or something, and it arrived a hot mess. There were like no nodes, rotted nodes, no roots. Hot mess. I was able to save a very little bit of it, and I'll insert a photo on the screen of what that looks like today, but it's in general a propagation that's kind of pretty neglected. I did get a refund, so there was that. Then another seller that I'd never ordered from before, but friends had, and trusted reputable source had one, another full 6-inch pot, so I ordered that, and that's the one that's on my plant wall back here. It's pretty, but the variegation is not all that. If I were to chop it to try to get cuttings for a moss pole, I would basically be chopping away most of the current variegation that plant has, so it was no good for that. So finally, when I saw this specimen, I thought, this is the one. This is my moss pole manjula, and I think it's so beautiful. I'm excited to finally add it to a moss pole. In my experience, they don't even really need the moss to upsize, since mine was upsizing on just a regular trellis. So I'm excited to get it on a moss pole and get those beautiful, big, beautifully creamy, speckly leaves. So we're going to do that. The mix that it came with looks pretty good and chunky. So I'm gonna try to mix some of this with my aroid mix, since that's what I do for all my poles. And I am going to use a large, thickly pole 3.0, the ones that open in the front for it. Just because I'm not positive. I mean, I think that there are probably 2 vines here, but I can't tell if there are 3, but there's definitely more than the 2. But there's definitely more than 2 active growth points, and we know pothos roots can just go crazy, so I wanted to set it up from the start in a pole that's going to be able to house all of those roots. You've seen me use these poles before. I'm not sure that you've seen me use this one in particular. It's pretty new. This is the 3.0 in a large, so it's larger width and then larger in height as well, but the 3.0 means it opens in the front, and I feel like having poles that open in the front, like the Russo, or when I started using the Grow Thickly Medium 3.0 that also open in the front, I don't really want poles that open in the back anymore, unless they're for a plant like my strawberry shake, where I'm not really using them to upsize the plant and more for support, then that's okay. But if I am using them in hopes that they root onto the pole and I'm eventually going to chop and prop and things like that, then opening in the front is the way to go. So I'm really excited they have these in the large now. These poles work exactly the same as their medium version or their previous version. They have these little I don't know, little tabs that stick out to anchor onto the soil or into the soil. They fold here at the crease. Let me see. They fold here at the crease and then they just clip on in the front. And I do have to be honest, I haven't figured out if it's easier to just completely assemble the pole first and then add the moss, or to add the moss and then close up the pole. But I think that we're just going to do that because that's what I usually do. I also love about these, you'll be able to better see, but they close every other gap. So they allow the plant to, you know, make its way in there very easily, which is nice. I haven't really talked about what kind of sphagnum moss I usually use here. I have linked it down below, but I will not be using what I had been using always anymore. The last 2 batches I bought were just terrible, just full of twigs. Like 50% of the bag was twigs, and it was the Better Grow. They recently switched packaging, and that whatever's coming in that new package is garbage. So I was at a plant event this last weekend, and one of my favorite sellers had some of this really nice New Zealand sphagnum moss that's ethically sourced and just really good quality that they were selling. So I went ahead and I bought a bag of that. This was $20, which I thought was reasonable for like that really good quality moss. So that's, or I aim to be using this nicer quality going forward, since again, that other one is just awful. I don't know, but let me know what your experience has been with moss recently, and if you use that Better Grow stuff. Have you noticed anything? This is so much nicer in every way, shape, or form. I've never used it before, but I can already, it feels like fluffier, really, really nice. Like, I don't know what way to really, or another way to describe it. So here it is. I'm probably not going to fill it any more than this, and I can condense it a little more because this is still fairly short. But let's actually just get the plant on and everything before we decide. I want to see what the root system looks like to see what size pot. Oh yeah, the smaller pot for sure would be fine. This is the root system. It's pretty small, but it does look healthy. It honestly feels a little dry, and I can tell on the leaves also it's a little dehydrated. The mix does look really good, so I think I'll just combine some of my mix with this. In my previous video, someone suggested I fill the bowl directly over my soil bin, which is a great idea that I will have to try next time, since this is kind of a combo. I am going to use the smaller pot because it has a tiny root system. I really need to decant this so I can stop fighting with it. Looking so cute already. Now I'm gonna just water it in with my nutrient-rich cocktail. I always like to have a catch tray and I leave them in here for a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, just so that they can get fully hydrated and the roots are absorbing any additional water and nutrients that they may have missed. So while it's soaking, I will attach the vines onto the moss pole, and yeah, then it'll be good to go. I'm trying to figure out where is the best place to attach. Found a spot. One node, and then I'm just going to do one more. I'm not sure I need to be honest. Actually, no, that's the only one I'm gonna do. So here she is. I love it. I mean, you probably can't see the whole pole. I don't like to fill the moss all the way to the top if I don't need to, because then that's just more moss pole that you need to keep moist and tend to. So I like to, let me show you. The highest node is right here. So it still has all of this of moss where it can grow into before I need to add more. And I will say this moss feels so nice in comparison to the other moss I've been using before. But I do know that it's pricier. I think that that bag for $20 was a good price. So I can see if I can continue to source that from that seller. But yeah, the Better Grow stuff just got really, really bad. But overall, I'm super excited. I love the way this looks. I think the color is so pretty and I cannot wait to see this size up. This is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you super soon.